What's this?
What?
This car. This stupid car. Where's the Cadillac? The caddy. Where's the caddy?
The what?
The Cadillac we used to have. The Bluesmobile.
I traded it.
Traded the Bluesmobile for this?
No, for a microphone.
A microphone? Okay, I can see that. What the hell is this?
This was a bargain. I picked it up at the Mount Prospect City Police auction last spring. It's an old Mount Prospect police car. They were practically giving them away.
Well, thank you, Al. The day I get out of prison, my own brother picks me up in a police car.
You don't like it?
No, I don't like it.
Car's got a lot of pickup. It's got a cop motor, a 440 cubic inch plant. It's got cop tires, cop suspension, cop shocks. It's a model made before catalytic converters, so it'll run good on regular gas. What do you say? Is it the new Bluesmobile or what?
Fix a cigarette lighter.
Scott, Paul, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
All right.
Cool.
Let me see here. I'm like,
We all sound like we just met out in front of a high school cafeteria or something. Yeah. Cool. Right? Yeah.
So, happy sack around.
Yeah, I know. So
solid.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Rockin'. All right. Good stuff.
Yeah, now we're gonna go ditch and go across the street and smoke. Oh wait, that's just me.
Yeah, we smoke in the boys' room.
I did.
I
had a friend with a van.
Nice, I did too. Was his name Rick at all?
No, not Rick.
Yeah.
Is it that scene where like we all stumble out because we're late for history class?
Oh, Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking about that, Mr. Hand. If it's your time and my time, doesn't that make it our time?
Exactly.
I had fun with that. We did a podcast on Fast Times, and I did a skit with that scene. Like Spicoli was talking to me because he ordered a pizza when we were going to be trying to start a podcast. So he was ordering pizza on my time.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So then we shared it with I named off a bunch of people and Robert too. So and then Robert joined in on that. So, so that was fun.
You have to send us the link for that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I was really getting into this podcasting now. I think on our next show, after we do the next one, I'll put them all up on iTunes. Right now they're on SoundCloud, so.
Yeah, because you just got them on your website, right?
Right, yep.
Okay. Yeah, I listened to the one where you guys gave a good shout out to 80's Reboot, so that was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was our television one, I think, our sitcom theme songs.
Yeah, the sitcom theme songs, yeah.
And then we recorded a whole episode of about Ghostbusters for Halloween, and then there ended up being a loud buzzing sound through the whole recording, so I had to crash that. I'm gonna do that one again.
I feel your pain with technical difficulties, buddy. I've
Yeah.
had nothing but the last several months with podcasts. It's just been very frustrating. So I get you there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a Skype thing or what, because I know Stuck in the 80s had a problem too. They recorded one and the same thing happened, and they had a guy from Australia on, and then they ended up losing that.
Oh, I had a great conversation with this guy, and I forgot. I think it was New Zealand.
Yeah.
But it was all about Mask. And it was a great conversation. It was totally awesome. And about 45 minutes conversation and all that, and I went back and 0 bytes on the file. I was like, oh, you're killing me.
Oh man.
So, yeah, one of these days I'll get back in line with him and we'll do it again. But I was just like, I hate that. I totally hate that. I want to get that hardware device or something that you don't have to rely on the Skype, the free Skype recorders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, is everybody ready to go? You guys got your favorites picked out that you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to talk about what I blogged about.
I'll be that way.
I will.
As long as you don't read verbatim.
Oh, no. Okay. I won't be reading every sentence like I reading. And then I said that, no.
Yeah, here, let me read the intro. Welcome to 80's Reboot. Yeah, no. Not going to do it that way.
No.
All right.
It's a mashup today. Return of the 80s Reboot Overdrive.
Well, there you go.
Nice.
Return to the Reboot Overdrive.
I like it.
Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight.
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Sur and the Kodan Armada. Get ready. Prepare for blast-off.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Well, we're going, we don't need roads.
Remember, no matter where you go, there you are.
This is 80's Reboot Overdrive Podcast.
We were dancing just like Swayze when Jennifer Grey had a nose. Oh, how I miss the 80s, but I'm too young to really know. Too young to know.
Oh my god. That is like so dated.
Hello, this is Dave, and this is 80's Reboot Overdrive, and online I have got a plethora of people to talk to. I've got 80's Music Girl, Rose.
Hello.
Hello, love.
Hello, darling.
And we got 80's Auto Reverse, Scott.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be back again.
And we've got a voice on the podcast that we haven't had before. This is Return to the 80s, Paul. Thank you for joining us, Paul.
What up?
What up?
Thanks for having me.
What?
But we also,
you guys.
We're going to do the what's up.
That's 90s.
Yeah, that's 90s. You're right. Okay, that's right. We don't go that way. You're right.
No 90s.
We're an 80s show here. But yeah, I mean, Return to the 80s. I know you guys got a really killer blog going. You just started podcasting, so we're just so happy that you're able to join us today. Thanks a lot, Paul.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I've been blogging since 2010, and yeah, like you said, we just started recording our own podcast finally with a little nudging from Robert, who was a guest on your show.
Yep.
So. It's a lot of fun. Pretty soon we'll be up on iTunes. So.
Yeah, Robert was on, and he was telling us about how he uses 80s music and 80s pop culture in his lessons as a teacher. Very cool show.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
if you
awesome.
haven't had a chance to go listen to that, people, go out there and definitely listen. And then you're also got to go to the Return to the 80s blog and check out all their cool stuff there. But we're going to get all into that. We have a special crossover event that we actually are doing this for, because we have this thing where all of 4 very killer 80s blogs are working together to talk about the very topic that we're going to be talking about on the podcast tonight, and that's our favorite 80s cars. So what I want to do is I'm going to mention all of these blogs at the beginning, and then at the end, that way you've got it all, so you can go check out all of the great content that's going to be available to you. We're going to have them all linked together, all on the same subject, and it's just all these different bloggers and this podcast talking about our favorite 80s cars. So who's participating is Killer Kitsch, and he's at killerkitsch.wordpress.com, Ouija Midget at .wordpress.com, Return to the 80s WordPress.com, and then of course Rose is taking care of SouthgateMediaGroup.com/80s Reboot blog. So that's everybody that's going to be working under the banner of this topic of fave 80s cars is what we're hashtagging it. So a very exciting topic to talk through all that. And actually, Paul, I think this was actually your suggestion of a topic, if I remember right.
Yeah. It was just like I was just in the middle of typing all along, trying to think of something, and when I was in the middle of typing, I was like, oh, how about like all the different vehicles that in all the TV shows and movies are a lot of really popular ones. So
yeah, and
it seems like a good idea.
Yeah, there's so much great like vehicles and cars to geek out on. So I'm really curious to see, if all, the 4 of us, if we're going to have our top 3. I'm wondering if we're going to take each other's, through the turns. I don't know how many of us have extras, but I definitely recommend you having one, because I just have a feeling that it's going to happen, as we do.
I've heard your show before, and so I have a backup to my backup.
Oh, okay. All right, good. All right, so you know the format then. Well, what we're going to do is everybody's going to take a round, and then, we'll go through the first round and talk about each other's picks, and then et cetera, until we get through all 3, and then I'm sure at the end we'll do some honorable mentions for the ones we didn't get to. So usually what I'll do is when I'm hosting, I'll usually go ladies first or guests first, but I'm going to be a complete jerk and go first, because I'm not letting anybody take the DeLorean first. So it's going to be a jerk move. I'm taking it. I'm going first pick, and it's the icon for our podcast since we started doing this 2 years ago. What had happened was when I contacted Rob Southgate, and I was like, you know what? I've got this idea for a podcast. I want to do an 80s theme. And he's like, oh, that's great. And if anybody that knows Rob Southgate or Martha Southgate, you know that they're just very encouraging in any topic that you bring up to them. They'll be like, yeah. So when it came down to the idea of putting a graphic together for the podcast, he says, all right, well, I'll do the graphic. Do you have any ideas? Or either that, or I went to him and I was like, just put a DeLorean in there, man. And he's like, we're on the same wavelength, man. We got it. So the DeLorean DMC-12, I believe it was released, 1981? Am I right? 1981? And featured, of course, in the Back to the Future movies. For me, absolutely love this car just for the fact that it was so prevalent with the Back to the Future movies. Another thing that really just makes me geek out about it even more is there's a writer that I'm a fan of called Ernie Klein, and he has a DeLorean that is completely 80s geeked out. It's got like the little Knight Rider bar in the front, on the grill. He's got a flux capacitor built into it. In the trunk, it's got the proton packs for Ghostbusters. I mean, it's an 80s nerd dream.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you ever get a chance, go to YouTube and look for Ernest Cline's Ecto 88 car. And you'll just be like, oh my god, I need to have this car.
The name alone is cool, too.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, he wrote a book, a really great book called Ready Player One. So if you've never had a chance to read that, that's another recommended reading that I have. But love the DeLorean, and that's why I had to go first. So with that, does anybody have any story that they want to share about the DeLorean, or do we move on to the next round? Or the next person?
The DeLorean's best quality is it's a time machine.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's not a time machine, forget it.
I was actually talking to somebody that they were like, I'd really love to have a DeLorean, but then they were like, well, I only want it if it comes with like the Mystery Fusion on it, and it has like all the time circuits. It's like, dude, it's a DeLorean.
Yeah.
Let's not get picky.
Yeah. Exactly.
Somebody's going to give me one. I'm just like, I'll add the extra stuff if I want to, but it doesn't have to have it when I get it. Yeah. So, I'm sorry, Scott, you were about to say something?
Oh no, it's a great pick. I mean, it's definitely. I'm sure it makes a lot of people's top three. And if you're looking at 80s iconic vehicles, probably most people's number one pick. If you were to say what's the first car you think of when you think of 80s movies, and everybody's going to say DeLorean. It's pretty well known, and it was an interesting car. It had a lot of strange little things, like it was stainless steel for one, right?
Yeah.
The body, and then it had these little tiny windows. Like the windows didn't actually work. Only had these little tiny windows because I think it had something to do with for some reason it has something to do with the mechanism of the door opening properly or something. Because they go up instead of out. I don't know, something weird. But yeah, it's a great pick. It was one of the tops in my list. I'm going a little more eclectic or a little more obscure, but awesome car.
Awesome. Rose, got anything on the DeLorean?
I don't. I didn't exactly didn't pan out where I thought it was going to, but it just you associate the DeLorean with complete failure, basically, when because it was going to be the car of the future, and then it wasn't.
Right.
So when you're watching the movie Back to the Future, and when Michael J. Fox's character is like, DeLorean? Like, could you have picked a worse car? Right then he just knew that this was just going to be, this is not what he signed up for. But go ahead.
Yeah, didn't it go back to the inventor of the DeLorean, the designer had a problem with cocaine? And I believe he blew all of his proceeds on that. No, literally, no pun intended on that. But I do remember.
He blew.
Dude.
All right, stop there. All right, go ahead.
Okay. But I
yeah.
remember a joke that was going around back then. It said, "Did you know that the DeLorean does not? You don't have to drive the DeLorean because it just follows little white lines."
Ooh.
Oh, that's funny.
Groovy.
Now this is a family show. Remember that. So
I know, but hey, it's just it.
We know.
We know what you mean.
We totally dig it.
It's part of its history. I mean,
Well, yeah.
Well, that was always having problems starting on the movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more of a but a mechanical malfunction that it had.
It's just
And
I
I
never
think,
remember enough plutonium. I think that was a problem. But.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It's like, how many people are you gonna jinx out of getting plutonium from? Not too many people out there.
All right, so that was my pick. Next pick goes to Paul. What do you got for us?
All right, we'll start off with the Sonny Crockett's Daytona Spider from Miami Vice.
Nice.
That's the awesome black car from the first couple of seasons, and it's iconic from that In the Air Tonight. Crockett and Tubbs are on the way to get Calderon. So that's just like something you think of when you think of the 80s is like that song and them driving, and that car is kind of like an iconic scene.
Yeah.
And yeah, Miami Vice with all the cars, flashy colors, the cocaine.
To carry on the theme from the last conversation.
It was a totally 80s show, the music. So, yeah, that's like one of the things I think of with the 80s is, the cars from Miami Vice, especially that one.
So, Scott, what do you got to say about that?
I really, this is kind of embarrassing to say, but I really did not get into Miami Vice. So I remember bits and pieces of cars in it, but I was just never into the show. So I don't have a lot to add on that.
Oh.
I know.
Sure.
And I call myself a fan of the 80s, right?
But I
got
mean,
some nerve.
I probably didn't watch it as much, but I mean, I automatically think of the car. I hear that theme song. I'm thinking, other than the speedboat, I'm thinking about the car.
Testarossa? Was it Ferrari Testarossa?
No, the Spider.
Yeah,
the Spider.
The Testarossa that came after. Yeah, the Spider got blown up with the bazooka, I think. So then you had to get new cars. Yeah, so then I think it was a Testarossa the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Testarossa. It's a beautiful car. Definitely, it's something to... And, I wasn't sure if we were going to just talk about some other random cars that we just loved from the 80s. But the Testarossa is definitely one of those ones that I remember from that era that were very well known at the time. So,
right.
Anyway.
What about you, Rose? Anything on Miami Vice?
I think the jacket and T-shirt with the no socks and the dress shoes thing is coming back.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of broadcasters on TV.
So the T-shirt with the no dress shirt or tie,
right?
It's just a T-shirt with a white jacket.
Yeah.
All right. Well, looks like I'll have to change out my wardrobe now. Great.
There you go. Get with the times, there, bro.
Yeah, the old times.
That was a pretty hot car, though. I mean, if you were watching that show and you didn't matter, what you were male or female. I mean, it's just like that was the car that a really good-looking guy like that needed to be driving. If he pulled up in a Pacer or something, that would have just killed the whole vibe of the show. You know what I'm saying? It's just, why would you do that? But
you can see Crockett in a VW Bug. Come on.
No, no. Maybe John Johnson as a person. I don't know. Maybe he had like a minivan in the back, or like one of those Volkswagen Beetle vans or something. I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. But if you're going to play somebody, yeah, there you go. If you're going to play somebody that high profile, yeah, you're going to need a car to fit that persona. So, well done, people who created Miami Vice.
Very cool. All right, so next pick goes to Rose.
Yes, well, I see how we're all picking our major hitters. I usually go 3, 2, 1, but if we're going to go 1, 2, 3, that's fine. My very first pick.
Dude, I got like things stolen from me before if I didn't speak up first. So all of a sudden I'm playing second fiddle to Biff. So I know. I had to go DeLorean first. That's just the way it is. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's cool because my husband was helping me with this, when I was doing it. He's like, "Oh, you got somebody this, you got Kit, you got the DeLorean." I was like, "No, no, 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 no. I can see it. The handwriting's on the wall. Those things are taken already. I have to come out with something that nobody's really going to think of, but when I say it, they're going to go, oh, yeah, because that's how I roll." So, having said that, I'm hoping no one had this, but it is from one of my favorite James Bond movies, The Living Daylights. Why? Because it's the title song is sung by my favorite 80's band, Aha. And it is the 1985 Aston Martin V8 Volante. So it's a very nice shiny black car that Timothy Dalton drives basically into the ground. Like James Bond does everything he gets his hands on. So it's just, where would James be without an Aston Martin? So.
Yeah, actually, I just brought that up just so I could reacquaint myself with it. Now, this is the one that he had like the snow sled thing on?
I don't remember that. I remember the Lotus that went underwater that was in View to a Kill. But this might have been, I think it was, because there's a lot of snow. There's snow in this thing.
Yeah, the picture that came up when I typed up the Living Daylights car, it has like skis on either side of it. So obviously it was a accessory by Q.
Yeah. So he's optional.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't come on the regular model, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think so. The deluxe model.
Or maybe the machine guns, probably. It does come with the standard. All right, so cool pick. That anybody that brings up a Bond car, that's definitely bonus points there. Good stuff. All right, so Paul, what do you think? Aston Martin? Is that something you would you would drive?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's another thing with James Bond movies. Yeah, is the cars. Yeah, it's pretty iconic. I don't think Timothy Dalton was too bad of a James Bond either. I think he gets a lot of flack, but I think he was pretty good.
He's no Roger Moore.
No. Yeah, that was my first James Bond. Yeah, like I was used to Roger Moore, and then I saw a Sean Connery one. I was like, "Who's this guy?"
Oh dear.
Yeah, I think the 80s was the only decade that gave us, 4 Bonds? If I remember right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 different it's 4 different actors.
Yeah.
As Bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they really did like the Aston Martins too. I mean, like every Bond almost has it. That DB5 is like the most common one that they use. And I remember I had one. I had the toy of it. I don't remember what scale it was, but it wasn't as small as a Matchbox. It was a little bit like the next size up. But it actually had the roof that would open up, and one of the seats would pop out. Because that was one of the things. You hit the eject button for your passenger and throw your enemy out there. But I remember having that as a kid. That was a good one. I don't remember what movie inspired the toy at the time. I couldn't remember if it was the one probably before that, probably Thunderball or Goldfinger or something. I think it was Goldfinger. Anyway, great pick though. Awesome car, amazing car. Bond had some just incredible cars. They were able to really let go with some of the creativity of the cars that they were able to throw in there and really do some crazy stuff with it, like that Lotus, the underwater Lotus with what movie was that one? Was that, I think that was Octopussy movie?
View to Kill.
Oh, View to Kill. Yeah. Those were all the Bond movies or Bond vehicles were very cool.
All right, so I think we're going to Scott now. What's your first pick?
You mean you didn't order the metallic P?
Oh, are we going was it the family truckster? Is that what
Family truckster, yes.
Yeah.
The family truckster. I mean, it's funny. Amongst my friends, we still use the term occasionally. What we're going in, the family truckster, the SUV or whatever it is. It's what became the SUV initially. If you think about it, it was really like the beefed up version between like the crossover between the station wagons and like the Ford Broncos and the Chevy Blazers. It was right in that thing, and I think it inspired car makers down the road to kind of try to go back to that with some of the crossover vehicles that they have now. So it's classic. It is hideous. It is a hideous car. The front end with like 8 headlights. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. And then the wood paneling, of course, is you can never go wrong with faux wood paneling. So
no,
I've been thinking about putting it on my Jeep actually. Some wood paneling.
Yeah.
With the same color scheme. You gotta go the green.
Yeah. The metallic P.
Yes.
No, I ordered the Arctic something blue. What was it? Arctic blue, or I think that's what he said.
Yeah, I don't remember the quote, but yeah.
Yeah.
I was curious if anybody was going to pick that one. That is great though. I was earlier today. I was thinking, I wonder if anyone's going to bring that one up, and I kind of had that one as a thought process as a backup, just in case.
Yeah, I did. Had it as a backup.
That's sweet.
Well, I think it's it's probably the one that I think of right next to the DeLorean as far as from the movies that I enjoyed watching. Everybody has different tastes and they have different things, different favorites within their cars, of different movies and different TV shows. So it's just what I liked. That one is definitely way up there.
It's just an interesting blend of our first picks. We have a Bond car, we've got a Miami Vice car, we've got the DeLorean, and then we get the family truckster.
You're welcome.
Which one of these does not fit?
How appropriate.
So, Paul, what do you think of the family truckster when you go into Wally World?
Growing up in the 80s, we actually had a station wagon. It wasn't as ugly as that, but it was like blue with the fake wood paneling. And I have a younger brother and sister, and we used to fight who would sit in the way back. I think we used to call it the backpack, where you'd be like facing backwards.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever had one of those.
Oh yeah.
No?
Yeah. My dad had a brown one, and we would go on road trips, and and because he didn't want to stop, we would fold that back seat down and roll the sleeping bags out, and then basically, you got to sleep while he was driving through the night. So yeah, I definitely had good memories there, and then playing Mad Libs with my sister.
Yeah, there's a comedian that mentioned this. Brian Regan. He says, the people that sit in the kids that get to sit in that little back section of the station wagon, they have a completely different trip than the rest of them. He's like, I wonder what all those signs say. Because you see the back.
All those is the back.
Oh my God. I was actually listening to Amy Madigan today, and she was saying, she was talking about the way back seat and how she's really frustrated with car seats and everything, how it's like 7 of them in the family, 7 kids, and none of them were tethered to anything in the car, and they got into like lots of accidents, especially if her mom was driving. And she says sometimes we'd get hit so hard, you actually got a better seat than you originally had picked, because you got flown over so many seats, and it's like, yeah, well, now who's got the window seats, suckers, So, but yeah, I thought, oh my God, too funny.
All right, so I think we're going around for our next level 2. Let's call it that. Level 2 of our picks. And I'm going to pick on a movie that was just chock full of cars. Cannonball Run.
Nice.
And
good pick.
Yeah, smack dab in the middle of that were 2 gorgeous ladies, Adrienne Barbeau and Tara Buckman, driving a black Lamborghini Countach.
Nice.
Just absolutely.
Pick that.
Yeah,
I was gonna pick that.
That specific with the 2 girls in it.
Well, yeah, because when I was googling stars of the 80s, that was one of the first ones that came up. But I told my husband, he said, "Well, you should get." I'm like, "No, I can't because in good faith, I don't think I actually saw the movie, so it would be really hard to talk about it." So good pick there, Dick.
Thanks. And so the premise of what they were using to get around cops is just when they would get pulled over, they would use their sexuality to get out of the speeding ticket or whatever.
Adrienne Barbeau, really?
Yeah, believe it or not. And my favorite scene of one of was
Ampleness.
it was when she went to go zip down her suit, and of course it was a woman cop. So just loved it. Absolutely perfect. So it's exactly what humor that needed at that moment in the movie there. But yeah, I mean, just that whole movie was just filled with iconic actors and just chock full of cars. To pick one out of that mix, is slightly difficult. But I mean, the Lamborghini Countach just, I mean, the thing would be parked and it looks like it's speeding. It is just an awesome looking car. And then in the 80s, you couldn't go into a store without seeing a poster or on a Trapper Keeper, and you were like, that car's awesome. I need that car. Yeah. So that is the young Dave, looking back and saying, oh yeah, I needed that car, not knowing nowhere near what it would cost to own one. But, of course, let's get rid of my dad's station wagon and get that. And I would have been fine with, trying to get a sleeping bag in that bad boy. So.
Or an extra person, so that's better.
But then you put that right there, and then you put Adrienne Barbeau and Tara Buckman in it, then of course that takes it to a whole new level. So I'm sure that none of the car accessories back then would be those 2 people, but they should have been. But yeah, so that's my my love affair with the Lamborghini. What do you say, Paul?
Yeah, it was a great choice. That crossed my mind with the Cannonball Run. Was that the one that, did they have an ambulance in that one, or was that 2?
Yes. Yeah, that was the first one.
Yep.
Yeah, with Burt Reynolds and Farrah Fawcett. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Dom DeLuise.
Oh yeah, that was a great movie. They don't make movies like that anymore. they wouldn't be able to get like that many big name stars like that.
Oh right, no, it's hard to get that. That's hard to get that many people together nowadays with their pay scale.
Yeah.
Yep.
and James Bond was in that one also with an Aston Martin.
Yes. He was. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a great. That movie has so many great cars in it.
I'm gonna have to watch that again. It's been a while.
Let's see what we got. We got JJ, Victor are in a ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
We got Dean Martin and Sammy Davis in a Ferrari 308
GTS.
Yeah,
that was a good one too.
Yeah. 2 priests in a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you had Jackie
Excellent
Chan.
joke.
Jackie Chan, Michael Hui in a Subaru GL 4WD. Terry Bradshaw, Mel Tillis in a Hawaiian Tropic NASCAR.
Sweet.
Stock car, yeah. Roger Moore in his Aston Martin, and Jamie Farr, the Sheik, in a Rolls Royce Silver Shadow.
All right, I forgot about that one too.
Yep.
Those are beautiful.
So a lot of great cars in there and actors. And as we talked about the Cannonball Run before, like I said, when I think they were making the movie, they probably just, whoever was available, they were just making phone calls and say, "Hey, are you free this weekend? Let's throw you in this movie." They just kept throwing people in. Let's just keep adding. It's like Ocean's 11, no, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13. Let's just keep adding somebody.
And it looks like they had a lot of fun doing that too.
Oh yeah, all the outtakes at the end of that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love those movies, Cannonball Run and the Smokey and the Bandit movies. Yeah, good times.
Oh, definitely. And obviously, it kind of shows off our love affair with automobiles. Just because you put those front and center with all those type of movies.
Definitely.
So Paul, your next pick.
Okay. Let me go with the A-Team van.
Oh, good one.
Good one.
Yeah, that was like my favorite show at the time, and BA drove the van because it was always fun to see them try to get him on a plane. So.
Yeah, we would watch repeats of the A-Team when I was in the Navy. My first duty station, we were watching repeats that just loved the iconic van. And it was just like, I'm just wondering, why. I mean, that thing, all you had to do was put like some sheet metal in front of it, and all of a sudden it was bulletproof. And
yeah, amazing how that works.
Yeah, give BA a blowtorch and some sheet metal, and then all of a sudden everything's bulletproof. So I didn't get that part of it, but love the van. And why would the bad guys always put them in some spot that had all of the stuff to make stuff with a blowtorch?
Yeah.
Well,
it's like you figure the bad guys were like, "Hey, I have these guys. I think you had them before. How did you mess up?" "Oh, okay. I won't do that." Oh well, maybe there's not a bad guy union or something. I don't know.
Well, no, that'd be too organized.
So Scott, were you an A-Team fan?
Okay, so I'm starting to see a pattern here of shows that I did not watch, and it was the action type shows. It's really bizarre. I'm like, okay, I never watched A-Team either. A-Team and Miami Vice, two of the most popular 80s. I don't know. I don't remember. I'd have to. I was playing a lot of video games at the time, probably. A lot of the computer games like Dave and I talked about.
TV, were we?
Yeah, and doing some other extracurricular activities.
Wink, wink, nudge. All right.
Yeah, I know. I am so not going there, even though my brain is actually, like, say it, Rose, say it.
Honestly, I was more of a movie person, and so I rented a lot of VHS tapes.
Sweet.
So I watched more movies than I did TV shows.
Oh.
Like Vacation.
Vacation, yes.
Very cool.
All the Hughes films, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I don't have a lot of input on the A-Team van, although I'm surprised of the scenes that I have, the times that I have seen it, or bits and pieces of it. It's amazing how maneuverable that thing is.
Yeah,
they can make that thing really do some amazing things for such a high profile vehicle.
Well, I'm sure BA had some sort of like stunt driving course, when he was in the Army.
Yeah.
That's probably required for sergeants, to be able to maneuver, vans like that. So.
Yeah, matchbook automotive courses.
That's part of basic, I think. So. All right. So Rose, did you have input there for the A-Team, or were you?
Other than it was like the best show ever, and I wasn't really sure what type of van it was.
Chevy?
Is it a Chevy, Dodge, Ford?
Making me look it up. Should know that one off the top of
Well,
our
I hope
heads.
You're supposed to know that.
It is a 1983 GMC.
Oh, wow.
GMC,
There you go.
Chevy, GMC, almost the same.
Oh, jeez.
Gotta have the right stripe and everything. Yeah.
Nice.
Now, I forgot what episode I was listening to, but a past podcast where Scott actually said the words that Robert Redford and Paul Newman were the same person. And it was classic. Classic Rose was like, shut your mouth. So.
Oh my goodness.
One of our past episodes. That's what happens when you're in the car a lot and you subject your son to listening to podcasts. So. It's like 80's what? Come on. All right. Okay, so whose pick are we on now? Rose.
So, in keeping with the mysteriousness of my selections, and thank you everyone for not choosing any of mine yet. This next car comes from a very unusual movie in the 80s. It's a cult classic now, only because it's based on a car. And
I don't remember
when
the
they
holiday special having any cars.
Yeah, I know. Weirdness. This particular model, however, was just a prototype, and they only made the one. And it's the 1984 Dodge M4S Turbo Interceptor. And it comes from the movie The Wraith. So when you first see the car, when it comes onto the scene, you're like, oh my God, it just fell out of the sky. What is that? You know, and then the doors open and this guy in black gets out and you're like, whoa, does that come with it? That's standard? That's a deluxe model? What the heck? But if anyone's seen The Wraith, I'm not going to blow it for you if you haven't.
I have seen The Wraith, and it's one of my favorite cult classic like that too. I mean, it was something that was really a fun little movie. That it was Charlie Sheen, right?
Yeah,
Charlie
but it had
Sheen, a very young Charlie Sheen.
Very young Charlie.
And I remember them showing almost like time-lapse video out the windshield going down this long winding road through the mountains. And I lived in Southern California at the time. I'm like, I know exactly where that is. That's Ortega Highway going up over.
Wow.
And there's the hot springs and the scene where they go to the hot springs. That is actually up in those mountains up in off Ortega Highway. I'm like, I know exactly where they filmed all this. This is awesome. So it was relatable to me in that way, and it was just a sweet looking car. The thing was amazing.
Yeah, it was totally amazing.
Very good pick. I like this one a lot.
Thank you.
Paul, were you a fan of The Wraith?
Nope, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, that was going to be my answer too. So I'm glad that Scott was able to jump in there for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah. It's actually it's a pretty good movie actually. I like the movie too. As far as like the premise is, it's Charlie Sheen, and doesn't he get killed by a group of like car gangsters up in the mountains, you know? Yeah. And then he comes back to haunt them as this thing called the Wraith, where he is like a spirit that drives this car. And
yes,
it's a sci-fi type movie. It's cool.
It's got Cheryl Finn in it, Randy Quaid.
Oh, Randy Quaid! I forgot about that.
Opie Cunningham's younger brother or older brother, depending on who you talk to.
Oh, Clint Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays the professor or egghead or whatever they call him, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of bizarre. I want to say bizarre. That's a little too strong. There's a lot of unusual characters, and the dialogue. I don't think they really thought about it very much, but I don't want to liken it to any specific movie genre, but you're really not concerned about the dialogue. It's what's going on.
It's about the car.
It's
and the
all
action.
about the cars.
Yeah.
It's all about the racing. Yeah, it's an awesome movie.
So you said the guy died, and then he came back to life.
Yeah,
in a way. He was a
came back.
spirit. Yeah.
Okay, so basically he was Ghost Rider.
He was, yes. It was kind of a Ghost Rider thing.
Okay.
He comes back to seek revenge on the ones that did him wrong.
Okay. All right.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up. I'll have to check that out.
It was a little different. I mean, it's definitely, it's got a sci-fi twist to it. So it's a fun movie though. The car is just amazing though.
Yeah. And there's a lot of really good cars in there as well. Besides, I mean, this is obviously the top of the line, but you've got the driving characters. They've all got souped up hot rods, and a lot of those pretty sweet as well.
Yeah, looking at the pictures on after I googled it, yeah, I mean the doors raise up like the Lamborghini and the DeLorean, so pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so we're on Scott's pick.
The 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California. Less than 100 were made. My father spent 3 years restoring this car. It is his love. It is his passion. It is his fault he didn't lock the garage. This car was so cool, especially as Ferris, the sociopath that we know him as.
The lovable sociopath.
Decided to steal this car and take it for a little joyride into beautiful downtown Chicago, with some really cool flight scenes in it. Got some air.
Oh yeah.
And and it was just, I mean, that's a Ferrari. There's something about a Ferrari. It's just it's beautiful and sexy and just it's, and then to destroy it at the end. Now this one, the one that they used in the movie, was actually a replica, and a recent real one of the less than 100 just sold for $5 million.
Nice.
Yeah. Crazy.
Coin.
Good pick. All right, so what are your thoughts, Paul?
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. It was like, yeah, that was kind of like a pretty cool, intense scene too when they ended up wrecking it. That was I agree with you too about Ferris being a sociopath.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a great movie.
Yeah, I love the logic of let's just put it in reverse.
Yeah.
It's like just good thinking.
Yeah. Funny.
He rubs it with a diaper.
The miles, they're not coming off, Ferris.
Oh.
Well, you act like Ferris had a choice. He was like, I don't see any other way. We can't pick slowing up in your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was a BMW also, but like a beater BMW,
Yeah.
Because Northside spoiled brats get beater BMWs to drive. Oh.
But it's okay though. It's a piece of crap, but I'll worship your piece of crap.
It's my
because
piece of crap.
Because I don't have a piece of crap, so I'll worship yours.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Now, does anybody remember the car that Jeannie drove in the Ferris Bueller?
No, I don't.
Ferris got a computer. Jeannie got a car.
She did.
Yeah.
She got a Pontiac Fiero.
Oh yeah.
Which is what I wanted when I was that age, actually.
Wow.
Rear engine drive. It's very cool, very 80s, very hip. Sign of the times. And then I remember reading an article about that. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent on the Fieros.
No, it's okay. It's the topic
I figured there really not any movies that feature a Fiero like up front.
No.
So I thought I'd be in a safe place mentioning it real quick. So the Fiero, there was a write up in like Car and Driver magazine. I remember when it was out, because I really coveted one. I wanted one so bad. They were saying because of the plastic body and the rear drive engine, they were comparing it to what the Volkswagen was going to be, like the Bug. They were saying this is the Bug of the 80s and the 90s. It's going to be the future of Pontiac. And it was not. Considering it only sat 2 people anyway, so it really wasn't very practical.
No.
But very cool car, though.
Oh, it's a fun, it was a cool looking car. Fun looking car. Had a little sportiness to it.
Yep.
Was that the car that she was driving at the end when she was driving the mother home, and then she saw Ferris and she was trying to beat him home?
No, I think she was in her mother's car at that time. Yeah, I think she was in her mom's car.
Yeah, it was. For some reason, I thought one of them was a station wagon, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was parked out in front of the house at one point, and I can't remember what scene it was. Anyway, so.
But yeah, that was back when Jennifer Grey had a nose. So. Sorry, saw the shot, had to take it. I was only below the tarmac for a minute.
Okay, now I got to look up a Patrick Swayze movie with a car in it.
If I could interject something that I found the other day when I was doing my blog. I don't know if you guys know about this or not, but the quickest way to find a car in a movie, imcdb.org.
imcdb.org.
Internet Movie Car Database.
Really?
You name a movie, and it will bring up every single car that they used in the movie.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Look at Rose with the internet tips.
It only took Rose 3 hours to write her blog, so I needed all the help I could get.
80s music girl with the tippage. Rock and roll. All right. All right, so that was round 2. So we're on to round 3, right? Did I miss anybody?
I don't think so.
All right, we're moving right on. And now I went, some pretty high visibility cars like earlier, so now I'm going to go completely off kilter, as I'm known to do, and throw out something that in my mind was just beloved in the 80s, but I don't know if anybody's going to listen to this and go, okay, that doesn't qualify as a car, but I got to throw it out there anyway. The Thunder Tank. If you ever watched the cartoon Thundercats, Panthro built a Thunder Tank.
Why isn't that a car?
Well, I just in case people are like, okay, we got flag on the play. Got flag on the play because it's a cartoon.
Oh, no. We
All
said
right.
Anything.
Okay.
Animated TV, movies, whatever.
Thank you, Rose. I appreciate the backup.
Yeah, if Scooby-Doo was actually made in the 80s, the Mystery Machine would be way higher on the list.
Would be fair game on this one then.
Seriously.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Thunder Tank was made by Panthro of the wrecked spaceship that brought them to Third Earth. And I mean, this thing had like a mouth in the front of it. It had like these claws, and it's one of those things where it taught a life lesson for Lion-O, who tried to drive it but then needed to learn how to drive it because he didn't know how, but that was because he's a boy in a man's body. So all kinds of hilarity ensues, but the Thunder Tank, just a cool cartoon vehicle, and to boot, also a very cool toy that I never had that I wanted. So loved the Thunder Tank, and anything, of course, Thundercats. So does anybody else kind of have the same appreciation for the Thundercats?
I like Thundercats.
Okay.
But Paul was going to say something.
Oh yeah, they were like just a little bit after my time. Like my younger brother used to watch all those shows, so sometimes I'd see it when he was watching it. It'd be that, He-Man, G.I. Joe. You know, those, like, my cartoons, my jam was in the 70s.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm right there with you. I get it.
In case you didn't know, Rose loves the Boogaloo's. So.
The Bugaloos?
The Bugaloos. Yes. The Bugaloos. The Bugaloos. Everywhere.
Well, we're talking 70s, so.
Sorry.
Yeah, I believe that was sarcasm, too.
Yeah, it was. But, anytime I can pick on you about that, I'm going to.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Dave, did you have the toy?
I did not have the toy. I really didn't have that many of the Thundercat toys.
Pretty amazing looking vehicle on the toy.
But it's definitely something that I coveted.
Is that the blue one or the red and gray one?
Don't know which one you're looking at.
Well, I'm looking at two here. There's the blue one that you can get at Bonanza for $34.99, and the one on eBay is the red and gray one for $60.
No, I see both of them here too.
Yeah. So, Dave, you're a grown up. You get yourself a Thunder Tank for Christmas.
Yeah, the blue one might have been like it was the revisited one where they tried to reboot the cartoon.
Right.
So yeah, I would want to, I would want the original, which was the gray one.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Yep. Which of course I'm sure costs a lot more money. Okay, so I'm the only one that had a deeper appreciation for Thundercats. Which is kind of what I expected with that. So, Paul, your third pick.
All right. I, too, am going to go outside the box for this one. I'm going to, go and ride this Formula One race car in the local arcade on pole position.
Ah, nice.
Nice. Good choice.
That was the arcade games were kind of new. You stood up at them and everything, but then when the pole position came out, it was like a booth that you actually sit in. It was different from everything else. So much fun. You do a qualifying round, and then you'd be racing. Like you would start, and then all of a sudden you see these other cars. I don't know if they got a head start or what, but
they would just zip around you, and like, where'd they come from?
Oh, where'd that come from?
Smashing your car blows up, and the wheels jump all over the place.
Go bouncing all over, yeah.
Then you get over there on that red and white line thing, and you
yeah, trying to turn with, you can see the arrows on the screen, trying to the sharp turns, and yeah. So after driving a real car was much easier. So yeah, that was a different game until Dragon's Lair came along and blew my mind.
Yeah.
So pole position. So then you weren't really into 80s cartoons. So that means you didn't watch the pole position cartoon then, or did you even know that it existed?
Didn't know it existed until now.
Yeah. Actually, somebody decided, hey, we have a pretty popular video game. Let's make it into a cartoon. And we'll do that with the Rubik's Cube, too. What a great idea.
I was going to say, that's never been done before. So.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. RoboCop is popular. Let's make that into a cartoon, because that's all about kids.
Yeah.
Rambo.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what were these people thinking?
They weren't.
Yeah, I know. They just saw something popular. Was there a pole position
cereal, too? Was there a pole position cereal, too?
Oh, I wouldn't be
God,
surprised.
hope not.
No, I gotta say, this is a great pick. I really wasn't thinking outside the box like that, and I'm glad that you brought this up, because I remember exactly what you're talking about when you just sit down, when you were sitting down in a video game for like the first time, and I can still hear that countdown, that 3, 2, 1, the 3 beeps and then the long beep for the go. And you would take off, and and then you have your qualifying one where it depends on where you line up in the real race, right? Determines where you end up as your starting point. What a great memory. I love when people bring up stuff that I haven't thought about for a long time. It's so cool to when all those memories come flooding back, and they're very specific and very still real.
Nice.
To think about that one. That's a great pick, man.
It's because it kind of submerged you into the game because you had that.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just standing in front of it. You actually were in, like, you know, in your mind's eye, the car.
Right. It was like the first step in into the haptic suit.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Bring up Ready Player One.
Nice
Yeah.
Nice obscure reference, unless you know the book.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it was like the beginning of. I kind of saw it as like the beginning of like virtual reality. You know, it submersed you in that video game by sitting down and with a steering wheel and gas pedal and you know, just being able to go. Yeah, that's virtual reality at the early stages.
Yeah, I would not even thought of bringing up Pole Position. That's an awesome pick. All right, so Rose, you're next.
Okay, last pick. Well, you know, I didn't go outside the box or anything, so. I did have a fondness, however, for certain movies that are watched again and again during certain times of the year, holiday films, as you like to say. And then this particular one gets watched every year, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And the adventure in itself is just extremely tiring. I mean, to watch. Every time I watch this film, it's like they start out on the airplane, and then they have the train, and they have the bus, and then finally, you know, somebody says, hey, let's rent a car, we're not that far away, blah, blah, blah. You know, and the car that they rented, once again with the wood paneling, God knows, I have no idea what that was all about. But it's a 1986 Chrysler LeBaron Town and Country convertible.
It's a beautiful car. Beauty.
Yeah, it just, you know, to me, it screamed 80s. You know, it was one of those things that it was almost like a mixture of time and style. You know, it's like, okay, well, this is not a dated car, but you look at it now and it is, you know, but it's kind of flashy because it's got a convertible top to it. And it just gets beat all to heck. You know, I'm sure you've all seen the movie. If you haven't, please let me know. I won't go into detail, but
don't worry, Rose. That'll buff right out.
Yeah. Yeah. I was hoping. And oddly enough, the radio still works. So yeah.
Yeah.
Go figure. But yeah. So it was a shout out to, you know, different times, you know, better movies. The late great John Candy, of course, and I could not leave it out of my blog, so I made sure that it's in there. So that's my third pick.
Very awesome pick, and I you know, it relates to the damage that car takes. Just to me, relates so much to, you know, the same damage that gets inflicted in Tommy Boy. You know, it's just
yeah.
So it's almost like, you know, Tommy Boy was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles 2. You know, for just damage to a car. You know, that didn't really deserve it, but...
This is true.
Yeah. But it made for the humor, so...
Definitely.
Paul?
This is the perfect time to bring that movie up, too, Thanksgiving time.
Yeah.
Isn't that a Thanksgiving movie?
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, it is, yes.
Yep. And I own it on DVD, so I'll have to be breaking that out this week. Yeah, it was a great movie, especially since this is a family show, we can't really talk about the dialogue, but when the car rental agent...
Oh, yeah.
Leave me in the middle of nowhere. And,
His rant is classic.
It is really one of the best. And you wonder, like, when you watch it on TV, if they ever show it on TV, they have to cut that whole scene out.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah.
Because there's no way to bleep that or change the words. It's obvious what he's saying. I mean, unless they filmed a different version of it. I don't remember. I usually watch the DVD myself, but this awesome pick, because that movie is just so funny. And when they're driving along and you're going the wrong way, that's just great.
Yeah.
That's great.
How do they know where we're going?
Yeah. They're drunk.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was watching that not that long ago. I totally forgot that Kevin Bacon had a cameo in that too.
Oh yeah.
In the very beginning.
That's what kind of started the whole thing. He took Steve Irons' cab.
Yeah. He stole my cab. I never stole anything in my life.
All right, so we're on final pick for Scott.
Okay, so looking at all these lists, there's so many cars that we're not going to be able to mention. I'm going to just go with something that was one of my favorite movies is Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and there's there's a few cool, really fun cars in there, like the car or the stereo salesman's car that she goes, the main character goes on the date with. I think that's like a Datsun 280Z, and then Forrest Whitaker's character Jefferson, he's given this Trans Am, this white Trans Am with a big blue bird on the fire chicken on there.
Yeah.
And that's the one that Spicoli wrecks. My dad can fix it. He's got this awesome set of tools. So I'm just going to have to say, like, overall, and then the van that they all come rolling out of, it's just got so many great little, not huge roles for cars.
Yeah.
But I'm going to kind of lump them all together as just the cars of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So those are my, I really like that white Trans Am. It was very cool, and it was just so sad to see him destroyed. That's the second car that I picked that got destroyed, isn't it?
Yeah, actually it is.
So I don't like action TV drama shows, but I like cars getting destroyed. Where is the disconnect here?
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't make any sense, but then again, that's me. So anyway, I'm gonna go with the Trans Am from Fast Times.
I was trying to find what Brad's Cruiser. What was Brad's Cruiser?
Oh, yeah, that's a sweet car too.
1960 Buick LeSabre.
Only 3 more payments, and this is all mine.
Yep.
Funny.
Yeah, that was a good pick. Great movie.
I know it's a little obscure, but I wanted to go that route.
Oh.
Well, Fast Times at Ridgemont High? Yeah, no, we've never heard of that one.
No, just the specific cars in it.
No, but that's what the show's all about. There are no wrong ones.
Oh, that's true.
Really? Yeah, and I loved seeing the look on the other football teams' faces when Forrest Whitaker was going crazy, thinking it was them that wrecked the car.
Yeah. Yeah, because they parked the car out in front of the high school after all the damage was done, and what they went to, what school did they go to? Ridgemont, right? So the other team was Lincoln, and it was Kill Lincoln, and it was kind of a funny little play. Jefferson, Kill Lincoln. They had 2 presidents involved. At least I always thought it was kind of funny. But they had it, spray painted all over the side. So.
And that's how you fix it. That's like a la Animal House,
All right.
Yeah. Very cool. And I'm a little disappointed in our group that no one brought up Ecto 1.
I left it out there for everybody.
Yeah. So that, and no one brought up General Lee.
No.
Yeah, and Kit. for Knight Rider. So,
because everybody was anticipating everybody else doing it. That's fine.
Yeah. I could have stuck with just the obvious, the ones on the nose, and would have been fine. So.
Or Christine.
Christine, another good call. Yeah.
Great one. Plymouth Fury. It's either Plymouth Fury or Plymouth Belvedere. I see two different things pop up.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Fury, but.
I actually was under the impression, because I'm a literal person,
right,
that it had to be 80s cars and 80s movies. So I backseated quite a few things that I put on my honorable mentions list.
Oh, okay.
Like, truthfully, if you really wanted to, I would have said, Andy's 1959 Volkswagen Carmen Ghia.
Mm-hmm.
But because it was 1959, I didn't think I could use it. But I gave it an honorable mention.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I think if it's prevalent in like an 80s TV show or movie or music video, I think that counts. The ZZ Top Eliminator, another good call.
Yeah.
That is another good one.
Yeah. Uncle Buck's Mercury Marquis.
Oh,
that's
go.
Love that. Love that. Another great Hughes movie. On your blog, Rose, you mentioned the Camaro in Better Off Dead.
Oh, yeah.
That thing is freaking gorgeous, man. What a beautiful car. And that, I think it was a 68?
67.
68 Camaro? 67 Camaro? Yeah. Amazing car.
Yeah. It was recently restored. Somebody had found it in 2015. Really? Yeah. And they restored it. It was original glory.
Was it a French girl that did it?
I have no idea. So I'm one of those headline readers. I don't actually read the article. I didn't think I'd be quizzed on it, so. So that's all you're getting out of me. Sorry.
All right, Rose, I'm going to give you a little guilt trip. I actually did read your whole blog.
Did you? Nice.
Yes, I did. It was very well written. I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
You brought up some great cars.
Thanks.
I had a fun. Yeah, I was waiting until after this conversation. That way I didn't get skewed, So.
This is true.
Yeah. I wanted to, because you never know if Rose is going to pick Thunder Tank, so.
I could have just easily. At 2 a.m, I'm sitting here going, Jesus, am I done with this yet? Christ, we got this podcast tomorrow. What else is out there? Yeah.
Thunder Tank. So Paul, what's next for Return to the 80s? What do you guys got coming up?
See, well, besides the cars, Robert's also writing an article, and he's picking a car. I'm doing 3 cars, and he also has a series coming out, protest songs of the 80s. So he has 10 songs. We're gonna post a song a day for that. I do. Last week I just did the top 40 from November 10th in 1984. Those are always popular. I usually post 10 songs a day, for the top 40. So I'll be doing one of those again pretty soon. So it's just a lot of fun. And as usual, I have a series called Remember That Song, where I list the lyrics and guess the artist and the song. And then I have my quote of the day usually. So, and we're trying to get this podcast up and away.
Very cool.
So that'll be regular. So, Yep. So a lot of great things coming. Always keeping it fresh. Been doing it for a while now, so it's good to change things up constantly. So
every time I get onto the blog and I'm like, lyrics of the day, and then I'm like, okay, I think I know that one, and then by the time I'm like, I go back to do it, it's like, I'm way slow. Somebody's answered hours ago, and I'm like, oh, I'm Johnny on the spot, so. But that's good stuff though. Throwing those lyrics out there, and it's like, you're trying to, not cheat.
Yeah.
Because it'd be so easy to slap that bad boy into Google and just, hope the answer comes up. But
because sometimes it seems familiar, but if you don't have if you don't get the right cadence, sometimes it can be tough. But then, Yeah. Yeah, it can be a little bit challenging. We also do a segment on the podcast for that too. And I was asking Robert, since it's audio, maybe we should like play a sample of a song instead. But he liked the idea of reading the lyrics off, so we do it. So we have a podcast version of it. So Robert comes up with those, and we also do trivia questions on the podcast too. So
Cool.
Yep.
I'll have to be on your show one of these days, and we could play the game. That would be cool.
That would be fun.
It would be.
You know, and those lyrics, like you were saying, it's sometimes it's hard if you can't get the tune in your head.
Yeah.
So, you know, what you could do to make it even more difficult is change the cadence of the way the words come off, the way you have to read the words. Instead of just reading them, you know, you just kind of change it up a little, and that we're talking challenge now. Now I see those lyrics. I see your lyrics posted sometimes, and it drives me nuts when I can't get the song, especially if there's other music playing in the background. Forget about it. You know,
yes.
If there's something going on in the background, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get that song in my head. Even though I'm like a full-on, you know, I'm a music geek, and especially of the 80s. We have the other part of our show with the 80s mixtape auto reverse, which is a lot of fun to geek out on music. But yeah, I love the lyric stuff. It's good stuff, fun, challenge.
Yeah, so sometimes I mess myself up, and I when I go to do the answer the next day, it's like, what song did I pick? I stump myself sometimes.
But I've done that before, where you know you're reading the lyrics and you're like, you have to stop yourself from singing it, you know, because it's like too easy to do that. But there was like one that we did for like 80s cartoon themes before, and the co-hosts that were on it, we would read the intro of the cartoon, you know, and it was like co-host Matt, he's reading the theme song to Gummy Bears, you know, and it was just like, how do you just read that without singing it? It was like so difficult for him.
Yeah.
But fun.
The Bugaloos. The Bugaloos. All right, I still have that in my head.
See, now you just say it. The Bugaloos. The Bugaloos.
You can't just say it. The song is there. It's already in there.
That was our favorite 80s cars. You know, what it is we're talking about our blog podcast crossover event. As I stated at the beginning of this whole thing, we were going to mention it again. The participating blogs are killerkitsch.wordpress.com, ouijamidget.wordpress.com, returntotheeighties.wordpress.com, and then ours is southgatemediagroup.com/80s reboot blog. So all of these, by the time you listen to this, should have their favorite 80s article or favorite 80s car article posted, and we'll have them all linked together, so you'll be able to start with one and work your way through to all of them. So, you know, big thank you to, you know, Robert and Killer Kitsch, who I don't even know his real name, and Ouija Midget. I think we got the real name on Twitter, but I don't remember. You know, it just, you know, big thank you for everybody agreeing to do this crossover event, blog, podcast thing. It's wonderful. It is great that, you know, so many people have this love fest with the 1980s, and we're able to just really geek out and have a good time together. So I'm looking forward to just reading everybody's articles and clicking through and remembering a bunch of stuff that I'd probably already forgotten. So it's very cool. So what we're going to do is end with our social media credentials. Let's start with Rose.
So, I am at 80s I'm on the internet, people. Look for me. No. I am at 80s Music Girl on Twitter, 80s Music Girl on Facebook, and 80s Music Girl on Instagram.
Okay, Scott?
At 80s Auto Reverse on Twitter, and also at Scott's Eye on Twitter, or on Facebook at 80's Mixtape Auto Reverse.
And Paul.
I'm at Return to the 80s on Twitter, and you can also find me on Facebook. You look up Return to the 80s, and the website, of course, returntothe80s.wordpress.com. And we also have the email that for Robert and I read. It's returnto80s@gmail.com. So we'd love to hear from everybody. So, yep. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys definitely want to, listeners, definitely go out there and check out, their blog, of course, and, start listening to that podcast. And, once you get that bad boy on iTunes, of course, you want to give that a rating and review. So I'm Dave. Take care of our 80s Reboot accounts. That's Twitter at 80s Reboot. Tumblr is 80sreboot.tumblr.com. We've got email, which is 80sreboot@gmail.com. And our blog, as I've said, was southgatemediagroup.com/80srebootblog. And I feel like I forgot one. But that's enough.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, well, hold on. Wait a minute, Rose. You said that you were better at this than I was. So you get to tell everybody to give us a rating review.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't say I was better. I just said I was successful. That's not the same thing.
All right.
So everybody out there is listening to our podcast, go to your iTunes store, get on your iPhone, because you all have them, and go to 80s Reboot Overdrive podcast and rate our podcast. We know you're listening. The numbers don't lie. So give us a shout out. Tell us how amazing we are. Tell us how horrible we are. Tell us to get better mics. I read that one. I went, what the hell are you talking about? But, we're not actually going to say that because,
well, that's a fellow podcaster, I think, who was giving us some advice.
So thank you so much, everybody, for your love and your loyalty. And we look forward to seeing you again.
And thank you for reliving the 80s with us. And have a wonderful whatever.
Ciao.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
We hope you've enjoyed this show. This podcast is part of the 80s Reboot Overdrive channel on Southgate Media Group. You can follow us on Facebook on the 80s Reboot group page. We're also on Twitter and Tumblr at 80s Reboot. We invite you to check out all the wonderful podcasts and blogs available at southgatemediagroup.com. And thank you for reliving the 80s. And we're clear.
Sweet.
Not that I actually turned the recording off, but, it's just nice to say that.
Yeah.
Makes it sound like official and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Roger, over.
What's the Victor Vector? At least I got the reference.
Can I get some clearance? So, Paul, it's great having you on the show, man. I enjoyed getting to know you a little bit on here. I'm looking forward to listening to these 4 episodes. I'm hoping I can download. Do you know if you can actually download them to your phone or a listening device, or do you have to listen to them streaming?
I think you can download them from SoundCloud. I'm not 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. I upload them to SoundCloud, and then then it lets you embed the audio into the website. So,
nice.
Yeah. So our next episode is going to be on "Slippery When Wet" because Bon Jovi just came out with a new album.
So yeah. Robert is the teacher. He's the one that you actually do all this with. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So because I was going to try to arrange something, but with my visitors in town, I was going to. And with my stupid technical difficulties, I can't record anything, it seems like. I was going to try to tackle those because he mentioned them before in some messaging that we had going around with the Slippery When Wet with Bon Jovi. So that's going to be a great show.
Yeah, he also wanted to talk Journey with us.
Yeah, Journey. Well, they did their first episode on Journey back in May or April.
Yeah, I think April. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, either the end of March or the beginning of April. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was our first one.
Well,
If
you're looking for any input on the Bon Jovi thing, let me know if you want a third party. I'd be up for it.
Oh, definitely. Okay. I'll let Robert know. Yeah, we also have a third co-host joining us, so that's going to be her first one, Sandy. She's actually from New Jersey, so that's like a good.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be good. Yeah. Yeah, I can talk it over with Robert. So.
Cool.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
we can figure something out.
If it doesn't work out, I'm always up for some just chit chat.
Oh, definitely, yeah, because I'd like to have some guests on and everything. We're just trying to get this underway. Now it seems to be working. So
yeah, very cool.
Ghostbusters incident. I think a ghost got into the Skype or something.
Would you say Ghost in the Machine?
Oh.
I'm sure it was a gremlin.
There you go.
Did you know that there was an actual AMC gremlin in the movies Gremlin?
Oh, was it really? I
Yeah,
know there was one in Wayne's World, which was 90s, but
yeah,
that was sweet gremlin on that one. Flames on it and everything.
If you're gonna spew in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Paul, I think we're all comfortable with each other, and if there's opportunities where we can cross over with each other, that could be fun. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it's it's great that we're a great 80s community. So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Definitely.
Yeah, it could really. It's really great to bring all the audiences together because some of your, readers and listeners may not know of us, and now, some of ours may not know of yours. Now we can bring all those people together and really enjoy the 80s, all of us. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I know you're already in that Facebook group that we started. So, and that Anton guy, man, he's awesome.
Yeah. Everything.
Yeah, he's very active out there. We got to get him on one of the shows on something.
Definitely. I was going to suggest that. I really was.
Yeah.
He needs to be on one of the shows.
I think he has a blog because I think he's commented on my blog sometimes. I forgot what site he was now. So yeah, I seen him commenting, posting stuff on Facebook, and it's all great stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that you totally forgot about, but yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. I on Twitter, he's like, I think it's 80's Unleashed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. So he's definitely got a great love affair with the 1980s. We definitely just need to get him on some format where we can talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody participating. I'm glad that we got this, this recorded so that we would have content for, this event. So, I appreciate you guys doing it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for allowing us to do it.
Yeah, it was a good idea.
Yeah, I was happy everybody said yes. It's like one of those things where you're asking the girl to dance and you're just not sure what answer you're going to get. So
I wouldn't know what that's like.
So Rose, can I have the stance?
Please. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yay! All right.
Cool. Woo! Relevant.
Score.
Yeah. In the mosh pit, right? We're slam dancing.
Well, just as long as later I could borrow your underpants for 5 minutes.
Oh my god.
Whoa. Yeah.
Well, I have this bet with my friends, and
girls.
There's a floppy disk. A box of floppy disks, and so, well, they're really expensive, you see. Anyway,
Thanks.
everybody have a good night.
All right, see you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.